If you have an old VCR/DVD player laying around in storage, it might be time to dust that bad boy off because you might just be able to use it to digitize your camcorder footage. Hey there, welcome back to my camera collection. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how you can use a VCR/DVD player to capture your camcorder footage. I will show you what kind of VCR/DVD player you need, how you can set it up, and accessories that will make it work with your computer. That being said, let's get into today's video. So I got this huge VCR player here. Now this is a VCR and a DVD player all in one. And you can find all kinds of these at like thrift stores, maybe pawn shops, eBay, secondhand websites like that. But the reason that you need a VCR/DVD player is because it needs to have the capability of being able to put a VHS tape into the VCR and a DVD into the DVD tray, and it has to be able to burn footage from the VCR to the disc in there. So you can burn movies from a VHS tape to a DVD. So it needs that kind of capability. So something that has a VCR and a DVD in one. You're also gonna want your, this is kind of hard to do because it's so big. You want one that has an input with S-video and your yellow, white, and red RCA jacks on the front because that is your video in source. And if you can find one like this one, you can get one that has a FireWire port in it as well, along with a SD card and a USB drive port for it. And the last thing you want for it is a HDMI out on the back. You need the HDMI out on the back because that is the best video source that you can get out of one of these and out of your camcorder. Now you don't necessarily have to have the FireWire port. If you can use the S-video port, it looks almost identical to the FireWire port. So that's not a must, but if you do want that true digital signal, you can definitely go online and see if you can find one of these secondhand that has FireWire on it. The next thing that you'll need is S-video cable and your RCA jack cables. You'll need an HDMI cable and a FireWire cable if you're going to be using FireWire. And the last thing that you're going to need is a capture box or a video capture HDMI. The HDMI cable that runs out of the back of this will plug into here and then converts it into USB so that your laptop or computer will recognize it. And then you can go into your computer's app for the, if you have like a webcam on your laptop, and you can actually switch between webcam that's on your laptop or whatever video source you have, say like a camcorder. So the model that I have here is the Panasonic DMR-EZ485V. That is the model of this VCR here. So if you want to go onto eBay and find this exact one, you can do so with that information. And if you can find one, make sure you have the remote with it. It's not a necessity to have this, but it makes setting up the VCR a lot easier and faster if you have the remote. You can get into the settings and stuff like that a lot easier. So now that I've shown you everything that you need, I'll go ahead and show you how you set it up. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip this guy around here. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it into the wall here. And then make sure you go ahead and grab your laptop. And then you wanna take your camcorder that you have. Doesn't matter what you have, as long as it has FireWire, S-video, or AV ports on it, it'll work with this system here. So you can even use like old VHS camcorders and stuff, and it'll give you a really good image quality on it. Doing this system actually gives you a very much better image quality for your videos than you get with a lot of the video converters that I've been talking about, like the ClearClick video to digital 2.0 and 3.0. Reason why is because it has a HDMI out on it. So it gives you a much better video quality on it. So it doesn't matter what you plug into it, RCA, S-video, or FireWire, the HDMI is going to give you a much better video signal to your computer. Really, this is a pretty cheap way to do it. It's just kind of a bulky system here. I'm gonna go ahead and set up the camcorder to the VCR here. I'm gonna be using S-Video for this. If you don't know, S-Video is a video signal only. It does not have audio. So if you use S-Video, you gotta make sure that you use the red and white cables of your AV cables for it to have audio, because the red and white is your audio cables. So go ahead and plug your S-Video into your camera, and then take the other side and plug it into the S-Video port on the front of your VCR/DVD player. Then once you have that plugged in, you're gonna take your AV cables. For this camera, this one is kind of the headphone jack style one, so I'm gonna go ahead and plug it into the yellow port that says video and AV, and then just take your white cable and your red cable and plug it into the matching holes on the front of your VCR. And now your video signal is connected from your camcorder to the VCR. Then next, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your HDMI cable and you're gonna go ahead and take your capture box and plug the HDMI cable into your capture box. You're gonna go ahead and plug it into a USB slot on your laptop, and then go ahead and take your other side of the HDMI cable and plug it into the back of the VCR. Now, with all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to the computer so you can see what I am doing. You wanna make sure that you have your camcorder on. In your case, you'll want it in the playback mode, just like you would with a clear-click video converter. This all works the exact same way, but for my instance, I'm gonna put it in player mode because I don't really have anything right now to digitize. So then once you have your camcorder on in your playback function, go ahead and go into your camera function, your webcam, and now you'll see me. This is the webcam on my laptop. So if you come over here, if you have Windows 11, you'll see this little camera icon right here that says change camera. So if you have all this hooked up correctly, you can push that, and now you can see that I am in focus here. You're looking at me on the Sony PC100. So if you have your remote here, you can go ahead and go into the menu. It says function, and this is just how mine is. So if you have a different model than this, it's going to be a little bit different. You can go in here and go to other functions, setup, and then I go down to TV screen, go down to functions of HDMI. You can change the HDMI resolution. I keep mine on auto just because of all the different cameras that I go through, but you can select yours all the way up to 1080p if you want, but I just leave it on auto. Now the HDMI aspect ratio, you want to have that on normal, because if you have it on full, it will take your 4:3 aspect ratio that your camera most likely records to, and it will stretch it to a 16:9 if you have it selected on full. Your footage will look a little weird and kind of smashed looking. It'll look a little short. Everything will, because it's being stretched. So keep that on normal if your camera records to a 4:3 aspect ratio, and it will keep the true 4:3. So if you hit menu again, you can see that it says function, drive select, and zoom. So if you go to zoom, when I first had it, it was zoomed in, and I make sure that it's zoomed out, because if you zoom in, now look how cropped in it is. So if your footage has a fisheye, if you're using a fisheye, say you're filming skateboarding or some form of action sports, make sure that it's zoomed out, because it will crop in and make your fisheye not look as wide as it should be. Make sure that you zoom out, and it looks a lot better, honestly. So you can mess around with the functions and all that so you can get them to how you want them, set it up how you want it. So now I'll go ahead and show you how you record on this, which it's super easy. But first, you can come over here, and this has the brightness. So you can kind of change the brightness. So if you think it's a little bit too bright, you can bring it down, and it goes pretty dark. You can bring it pretty light, and I think it generally keeps it at -11, which I think I could go a little lighter in my opinion. And it usually defaults at -11. Once you are ready to record your footage, you'll go ahead and push play on your camcorder, so it's rolling the tape, and then you'll see it on your computer screen, it's rolling, and then you can come over here and hit record. And now we are recording. So you'll be able to digitize all of your footage if you want to this way, and if you wanted to have a different look for live streaming, if you wanted to, you could do this as well. You could live stream with a VX1000 if you wanted to, or a Panasonic DVX100. Sony PC100, you know, whatever kind of camera you want. You could even get an old 80s, 90s VHS camera and use that for live streaming if you wanted to. All kinds of different stuff that you could come up with this. So it's a pretty good way of capturing your footage, and it looks really good in my opinion. Once you're done recording, you hit stop. You can go down here, this little square down here, and you can look at all of your footage and watch it back and make sure that it's what you want. And it should be in, at least where it saves on my laptop, it saves in the pictures. And then it's just in camera roll. So you can go to like your files, go to pictures, and it's in camera roll. And now you have all these different recordings. You can save those to different storage devices. Like if you have a USB drive or a place where you like to keep all of your video footage, you can save it there and then go ahead and drop it into your video editor like Adobe Premiere Pro or whatever you like to use. So yeah, that's pretty much all the information that you really need. It's set up the exact same way as you would with a ClearClick video converter or one of those really cheap ones that you would connect to your computer and digitize that way. You set it up the exact same way, and it's pretty much the same exact process. So it's pretty easy. So if you're wanting to go about digitizing your footage with this method, keep an eye out at some local thrift stores. Look around on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, anywhere where you can find secondhand things, and just make sure it's a VCR and a DVD player at the same time. You know, 2 in 1. If you need an HDMI cable, I will leave a link to one in the description. And if you need a FireWire cable, I'll leave that in the description as well. It does have to be a FireWire 400 to 400 cable. If you need the HDMI capture box, I will leave the same one that I have here in the description as well. Make sure you check out my eBay store for some of the cameras that I have for sale. And I will leave my Discord page in the description as well if you want to join the little camcorder community that I am building. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like it. And if you like the content, make sure you subscribe, because we talk about old school retro camcorders on a weekly basis. And on that note, we will see you in the next video. Have a good one.